Welcome to our Artist Support Grant Reviewer Orientation presentation. We appreciate you being here today for this very important process. My name is Jay Schroeder. I am the Communications Senior Manager for the Regional Arts Commission. I'll be moderating this today. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat or in the Q&A. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the folks that are going to be running the presentation, Anne and Chloe. Take it away.
Great. And I know that Vanessa Cooksey, RAC's president and CEO, is on the call. Vanessa, did you want to share anything?
Yes, please. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for making time to be here. And my share really is a thank you for committing to be on this journey with us to award deserving artists grants for their work this year. This is a Herculean effort. We have not been able to award grants to artists in nearly 3 years. We've also been working very diligently on implementing a new grants management system. And so my hope is that you will see the time, the effort, the thought, and the energy that we've put into making this process more effective and efficient. And last but not least, want to thank Chloe and Anne for all of their hard work in bringing this to life. This has been no small feat. So I encourage you to dig in, lean in, give us your feedback. We believe in continuous improvement. And also thank Jay for hosting us and stepping our game up from a communications perspective. So thank you all, and I'll turn it back to Anne.
Great. Well, welcome everyone, and we're going to get through this. So this is the Artist Support Grant Reviewer Orientation presentation. And to kick that off, I'm going to go over RAC's mission, vision, guiding principles, and core values, because they are a roadmap to and of RAC. So our mission and vision. As the leading public catalyst for arts and culture in St. Louis, the Regional Arts Commission leverages the power of creativity to strengthen and enrich our community. RAC envisions a full creative life for every St. Louisian. RAC envisions St. Louis as a growing and captivating arts and culture destination, and RAC envisions a community rich with opportunities and resources that promote and sustain artists. Our guiding principles. We invest in the region's arts and culture through our grants, programs, and special initiatives. We believe in diversity, racial equity, accessibility, and inclusion. We build partnerships that strengthen our community. We are passionate champions that support and recognize artists. And we believe every child deserves a well-rounded education that includes the arts. Our core values embody our culture, spirit, and dedication to living our mission. They keep us grounded and help us make good decisions about everything we do. We are passionate champions for arts and culture. We are accountable stewards of the public trust. We are committed to practices that promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. We are socially and civically engaged community catalysts, and we are servant leaders. Our grant-making practices all flow from our mission, our vision, our guiding principles, and core values. They are a balance between our passion and interest and the needs of our community. RAC's Grants Committee and Grants team, that would be Chloe and me, work to be sure our new grant cycle reflects all of these things, which helps ensure our process runs smoothly, or as we like to say here at the office, as smoothly as possible. So what is artist support? The Regional Arts Commission's Artist Support Grants serves as funding for the career advancement of individual artists. This grant provides direct funds for an individual artist's projects, needs, or creative opportunities in all artistic disciplines. Direct support enables diverse artists of all disciplines to advance their careers and complete creative projects. It is designed to be flexible and accessible and to encourage creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustained commitment to artistic work. Grant funds may be designated for, but not limited to, equipment and materials, rental space for studios, arts-related travel, conference fees, project completion, salaries, professional and artistic development, training, and other resources for an individual artist of all disciplines. Applicants will be able to apply for anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000. We do have eligibility requirements. The artist must be 19 years or older. The artist must be a non-graduate. The artist is not enrolled as a full-time undergraduate student. Graduate students are allowed. There is a local focus. The artist must be a current resident of St. Louis City or County and has maintained primary residence in St. Louis City or County for at least 1 year. We are asking for documentation of that, and they can use a voter registration, an automobile registration, an income tax, a property tax receipt, etc. Their current work. In the past 3 years, the artist has created and presented their own original works to the public or performed for the public, and again, documentation will be required. The artist will not have received an artist support grant in the past 16 months, nor will they have received an artist fellowship in the past 18 months. There are 2 types of projects within the artist support grant. One is a public-facing project, and one is a personal needs project. They will be allowed to apply in any of the following disciplines: arts education, arts services, dance, design, folk and traditional arts, literary arts, media arts, music, musical theater, opera, presenting and multidisciplinary works, theater arts, visual arts, and social practice. We borrowed these disciplines from the NEA so that we know that we are following best practices. An application overview. The application includes the following headings: general information for those applying for the community benefit, that's the public-facing projects only, a budget, demographics, and work samples. In the general information, we will ask the artist to state their start and end date, which must be between July 1st, 2022 and June 31st, 2023. We will also ask them to state 5 outcomes or goals. For the community benefit, and that's the public-facing projects, it's not the individual projects, the artist will be asked to address a 300-word narrative as well. We have asked the artist to include and upload a simple budget. These budgets must be balanced, and they must be uploaded on our budget form. We are also asking artists to supply their demographic information. Because RAC is gathering that data on individual artists, they will be asked to identify their ethnicity, their race, their age group, their gender, and their ability status. And then we are asking them for up to 3 work samples. In terms of the application reading and rating, we want you to think about the artist support grant review criteria, which is outlined in the guidelines, but I'm going to go through them here. Artists are asked to address artistic accomplishment, meaning that the artist has achieved a relative level of success as evidenced by awards and recognition, including prizes, residencies, other grants, presentation opportunities, including juried exhibitions, juried publications, castings, bookings, also critical review and documentation of their work. We ask that the applicants provide a clear and accurate budget with description of how funds will be used. We ask them to think about their commitment to deepening and expanding their artistic work so that their application demonstrates the pursuit of creative opportunities as evidenced by workshops and trainings, collaborations, residencies, etc. We want these funds to further their artistic and career goals, so their narrative and budget will demonstrate impact relevant to the artist's current and aspirational career. The time frame of the project, again, it must take place between July 1, 2022 and June 31st of 2023. The artist will not be able to apply at a later date for support for this opportunity, as evidenced by their timeline, their narrative, and their optional supporting materials. You as a reviewer will see evidence of this criteria for artistic accomplishment through their documentation, through the accolades and the achievements they have received, and their resume. Another evidence of criteria, the other criteria are clarity on how funds will be used. You will see that evidenced through their budget and their budget narrative. The commitment to deepening and expanding their artistic work. There's a question in the general information section of the application. You will also find that in their resume. Their grant funds will further their artistic and career goals will be evidenced by a question in the general information section, as well as their resume. And then the immediacy of need refers to the time frame. So there's a question about when their project will take place in the general information section, and you can also find that in their supporting material. How are you going to rate these folks? There's a 10-point rating scale. And again, we have ripped a page from the NEA and basing our rating scale on theirs. So ratings determine funding. Applicants who receive a rating of 10 are considered model, meeting all review criteria in an exemplary fashion. A rating of 10 is rare. Applicants who receive a rating of 6 are considered good, but some development is necessary. Applicants who receive a rating of 4 are considered in need of significant improvement in multiple areas, and depending upon the availability of funds, may not receive funding. As you now know, artist support grants are reviewed based on 5 criteria: the artistic accomplishment, the clarity on how grant funds will be used, the commitment to deepening and expanding artistic work, the funds will further artistic and career goals, and finally, the time frame of the project. Each of the criteria will be rated 1 through 10, and the scores will be averaged with an application high score of 50. Since each application will be reviewed twice, because there will be 2 reviewers assigned to each application, the maximum score is 100. Applications either receive the full funding amount they applied for, or they do not receive the grant. And what are your roles and responsibilities as a reviewer? You will have 3 weeks to complete the process, and if you would like, you will receive a $200 honorarium. Your responsibilities include reading and rating any assigned applications, and you need to declare all actual or apparent conflicts of interest. You will read the applications and view supplementary materials provided. You will rate fairly and avoid bias. You will commit to completion and finish by the communicated deadline. You will rate all assigned applications for each of the 5 criteria, which we'll be going through in the upcoming slides. While you are reading and rating, we ask that you be objective, consistent, and discreet, keeping the information confidential. You will review only the application and materials provided by the applicant. You will leave outside knowledge of artists at the door. You will use only the provided review criteria as the basis for rating. You will be consistent in your rating. Please use the same rigor with each application. You will consider all materials when rating, and you will consistently apply all review criteria to each application. During the reading period, please don't discuss applications with other readers, and don't share applicant information or artist ratings with applicants or the general public. While you are note-taking, be succinct and use direct language. Be objective and factual, not interpretive. Write as if they'll be read by the artist that is applying. This is not a point about grammar, but of your tone. Your comments will not be shared with the applicants, but they may be used to clarify to RAC staff some of the reasons for your ratings. Remember, the purpose of your notes is to help you, the reviewer, identify the reason for your rating and to inform us of your reasoning. The review process. So you play a central role in our annual grant making process. This is the flow of the process. This is the orientation. For those of you that are not with us right now, we ask that you review this PowerPoint orientation to learn how to review the applications according to the guidelines and review criteria. You will then independently review each application assigned to you in their entirety and provide ratings and diligent notes. At that point, staff will analyze all average scores from the reviewers and work to finalize a list of grantees that is diverse in ethnicity, race, background, and discipline. And after the whole process is over, we will ask you, the reviewer, to provide feedback on the application review process for improvement purposes. For any technical questions, we would like you to email this email address, and that is in the guidelines. And there's also a more technical side to this, and you will be able to review the RAC Reviewer portal guide on our website. It'll be very helpful as you walk through this process, and this is a peek inside the portal. So there's all the information you will need in that portal guide. And you'll get accustomed to it. It's very, you'll be able to figure it out once you get in there. It's very intuitive. Other items. So you will find the artist support guidelines on our website to learn more about the artist support requirements, eligibility, and review criteria. We will also ask you to click on the confirmation form to access so that you can find information about the orientation, the honorarium, and the website mentions. We're asking you to complete this to confirm whether or not you attended a training or reviewed the recording. Other items on that form include information about a RAC website mention of your name, if you would like that, and information about the honorarium. There's also a conflict of interest form. After the application closes, we will share with you a list of eligible applicants and ask that you declare any conflicts of interest based on the artist on that list. Another thing I wanted to call your attention to that is not, I don't have a slide for, is there are some artist support grant restrictions. So these are things that cannot come to us. An artist support grant, a proposed project cannot receive funding from multiple RAC grant opportunities. That includes projects where an individual artist is partnering with, employed by, or contracted by a RAC organizational grant recipient, and individual artists collaborating on the same project and applying separately. We also will not entertain multiple applications for the same project, which will render all applications ineligible to receive funding. Grant funds cannot be designated for such things as personal vacations, full-time college tuitions, or any items not directly related to an artist's personal, professional, artistic, or project development. So we're not going to be paying for an artist's rent, no babysitting costs, or what I like to say, we're not going to pay for somebody's whiskey. We know that greases the wheels, but we're not going to do it. Grant funds may not pay for projects which the main intent is fundraising or charity, the presentation of other artists' work, including curation, archiving, journalism, or commissions. And no part of the grant may be used for reimbursement or expenses prior to the application notification date. Any funds not expended for the purposes of the grant as applied for must be returned to RAC. No part of the grant may be used directly or indirectly to participate in or intervene in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office, or to attempt to influence legislation or to support or promote directly or indirectly terrorism or violent acts. And organizations are ineligible to apply for artist support grants. That's what we have. Do you have any questions for us?
No questions? Well, I want to thank everyone that stopped by today. We really appreciate your help with this extremely important process. If you do have any other questions, you of course can reach out to Ann and Chloe. They would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have and get you the resources that you need. But thank you again for your help, and we look forward to getting the process started.